Insight, the Stripped Back podcast with Stephen Buckley and Keith Delahan. It's all about the what, the how, and the why people do what they do for a living. Get first-hand knowledge and life stories from the new generation and the seasoned professionals through unfiltered chat and guest interviews, now on Insight, the Stripped Back podcast.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 3. I'm Stephen Buckley.
And I'm Keith Delahan.
And this is Insight, the Stripped Back podcast, sponsored by Robust Lighting.
Later on the guest interview segment, we've got Paddy Kavanagh on to talk to us about all things electrical and football.
But before that, let's get into this episode's instalment of The Overload.
The Overload segment. Now on Insight, the Stripped Back podcast.
Right, Keith, we're back at it again. And how did you fare after a bit of a wild night on Friday night just gone at the Electrical Awards?
I had one too many points, so the head was a bit groggy the next morning. I had to get up for the young lads football match, so that cleared it a little bit. But it was a bit of a come down on the Saturday, and extremely proud of the both of us for winning that award.
Yeah, no, same here. I think it was an amazing feeling to hear the name of the podcast being called out by Neil Delamere on stage, and even thinking, Jesus, like a comedian has wrote a joke about us, which I thought was quite funny. But similar to yourself, I had a bit of a come down myself. I woke up on the Saturday afternoon, I'll say, and I was met with a box from IKEA, which was a sofa to make up for the garden pod. So reality hit fairly quick.
That literally sounds like my worst nightmare. It's bad enough having a hangover without having to follow instructions from the IKEA manuals. But look, it was a great event. We met a lot of interesting people, and for those who picked up the awards, proud moments for them. And I suppose everyone that was nominated on the night are all winners as well. So
yeah, I think it's a fairly cliche thing to say, but when you're in a room like that and you get to see the quality of people that are up for awards and the quality of products that are up for awards, it's definitely something that doesn't fall on deaf ears. And I know it might be a bit of a disappointment to some people walking away from the room on the night thinking, I didn't win, but I think it is something that if you're in the room, you're definitely doing something right. So it was great to link up. I know that we mentioned it to Henry and Gary. So Henry Dean and Gary O'Neill, they were at it. Gary ended up coming out victorious with the Electrician of the Year award, and fair play to him. And it was great to meet up with the two of them at the bar and be able to have a pint at the end of the night. Yeah,
and truth was trade. Gary had to leave and be up bright and early for work the next morning, unlike the two of us. But look, it was great meeting, would you call them the leaders of the industry?
Yeah.
Everywhere we looked, there was someone that we could chat to and pick their brains on their side of the industry, even to our table where we had Snickers, we had Time Guard sitting beside us, and the workers from the magazines there. So it was brilliant.
Yeah, sitting at the table with us and being able to get a bit of an insight into how the night was running as well, and a bit of a look into the hard work that the girls were doing on the night and setting up the awards, and a bit of running around. I think they were delighted to be able to get to the 11 o'clock mark and be able to have a drink themselves. I know, when we sat down, we thought, Jesus, we're after getting the top seats in the place, and then we didn't know the speakers were literally behind our heads. So in actual fact, we probably got the worst seats in the house. But no, it was a privilege to be there and get invited on the night, and then obviously winning the award was great. And then Neil Delamere was great throughout the night, cracking the jokes. I especially liked the one about Grant and Phil Mitchell. I don't know who those two boys worked for, but they got ripped into. But it was all in a bit of good fun and a bit of jest, Yeah, and I've updated the Instagram page now to award-winning podcast. So I think if anything, from now on, I think we can always say that. So fair play to you, Keith, for the hard work you've put in.
Yeah, it's just showing up, and and talking through the scripts that you create for us. So good pat on the back for you there, Stephen.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. I think it's without yourself and myself, I think putting in hard work on both ends, I don't think the podcast would be where it is now. So,
and obviously the people that are, accepting our invitations to come on, thanks to everyone in terms of that as well.
Yeah, and moving on from giving ourselves a pat on the back, I guess we'll get into a few pointers that you can give to customers to know how to hire the right electrician. So I guess if a customer was to ask an electrical contractor before they came into their home some important questions, I guess if we were to share them out, Keith, these would be some of the main questions. I think I'll start off with one that I think is very important, and it's number one: are you licensed? Have you got the right qualification? And have you got insurance? I think it's a necessary thing to ask to make sure that the contractor has the correct qualifications and to make sure that they have up-to-date insurance details, not only to protect you and your dwelling, but to protect workers from any accidents or issues that may arise while on site. Question 2, I think, would be, can they provide any references or reviews from previous clients? You can always look them up then on Google or through Facebook. You can check up the quality of their work through Instagram and on TikTok just to confirm that the type of work they do is up to the standard and quality that you're looking for.
So moving on to question 3. What experience does the electrician have in this type of a project? So going into a project, you'll need to confirm that the electrician has the right credentials to do the job that you need done. For example, you don't want an industrial electrician to wire up your sitting room because you might end up with steel trunking and steel conduit running through the middle of your sitting room. Moving on to question 4. Can you provide a detailed estimate of the job? Leading on from question 3, an industrial electrician that will put steel conduit and steel trunking in your living room will cost more than a domestic electrician. Always get a written estimate which will help avoid unexpected costs and ensures that you understand what is included in the price that you have been quoted.
So question 5 would be, what is the contractor's timeline for completing the project? You want to ensure their availability and make sure it aligns with your schedule to make sure that you get an estimated completion time that suits you. You don't want the contractor coming out with the following promises.
I said I'd be finished for Christmas, but I never said which Christmas.
And question 6 is, who will be completing the project? The electrician who arrives on the day will want to be the one that you made the pre-agreement with or one of their direct employees. You don't want a subcontractor arriving on site without prior agreement or prior knowledge. You vetted the electrician that you spoke to, not the ones who arrived.
Question 7. Does the electrician offer any warranties or guarantees on the work that they have done? A warranty or guarantee provides peace of mind that any issues will be addressed after the job is completed. Issues regarding the workmanship and issues regarding products that they have sold you as part of the job need to be addressed at a later date if needs be. Question 8, and probably one of the most important ones. What safety measures are the electrical contractors implementing on site? Safety is crucial, so ask about the precautions they take to ensure the job is done safely, which include site assessments, safe working plans, safe passes for all employees, also with employees tickets for various equipment or machinery, and also make sure employees all have PPE. If you see one of the employees walking across your building site with runners or Crocs, this is a red flag.
Question 9. What are the terms of payment? Make sure that the terms are agreed before the project commences. Best practice would be to break it down into staged payments at progress points. For example, the commencement of the project, the first fix, the second fix, and the certification and snagging stage. This protects both the client and the contractor.
Question 10, and always a good question to ask your electrical contractor. Do you clean up after the job is complete? Every good electrician will clean and cover the work area as they go and will leave minimal clean up at the end of the project. If this is not the case with your electrical contractor, maybe they're not the right contractor for you.
As a customer, asking these questions will help you hire a competent and trustworthy electrician, ensuring your electrical project is completed safely and to your satisfaction. I don't know about you, Keith, but I think that's a very comprehensive list of questions for a customer to ask a potential electrical contractor when they're ready to start a project in their home.
Yeah, I find like if people don't ask the questions, that's usually when the problems arise, because you've set boundaries and agreements with the contractor before they even start. I know when I'm going to a job and I'm meeting the customer for the first time, it's a breath of fresh air when the customer does ask me them questions, because it shows that they're interested in their own project, and I suppose they want it to run as smoothly as possible, as do I. So it's only beneficial for both parties in that case.
Yeah, and I think they're the type of customers as well that you know that if you put in the work and effort and produce an A standard project for them, that they're going to be ones that are going to not only review your company in a good light, but they're definitely going to share around with other potential customers, not only in the area, but maybe through Google and Facebook, like mentioned in one of the questions, which is only going to benefit, like you said, your company trying to attract more projects.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like down to the point of it, like it doesn't always have to be, at the end client. It can be the building contractor you're working with, the maintenance division that you're working for, or, even to the point of a kitchen fit out companies you're working for. And obviously all situations are different. So in terms of like a building site, you'll always want to see your electrical contractor showing up with the right PPE, boots, glasses, anything he needs for that specific job. And then like in terms of him being in people's houses, I know a lot of my lads will carry a pair of runners with them just in case the customer has, for instance, finished floors that they don't want scratched. As you know, the boots will grab any bits of rock or anything in the garden, and then what you have then is scratched floors. So what we usually do is we'll bring a pair of runners with us that we know that we're not going to be putting our hard boots or mucky boots on the newly finished floors. If we have to wear our boots in a building site situation, when the job is coming to completion, we'll buy a pack of the blue shoes, so we're covering up any muck that's going from the boot to the floor.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any excuse for any contractor nowadays not to be wearing safety shoes. I think the quality of safety workwear that's out there at the moment, including boots, you can get very lightweight runner style safety shoes as well. So I think being able to have even a spare pair of them in the van to take out and bring onto a domestic job, like you can still get the comfort and the cleanliness on it, but the protection as well. You don't want one of your employees being able to leave the job at the end of the day with dropping something heavy on their foot and not being able to work for the rest of the week. Yeah,
well, that's where the insurances and stuff come into it as well. Like, no point in you being insured and then your employees are going around with runners or Crocs on, as we said, and and not having a hard hat, and then something falls in their head. Like, so it kind of falls into the insurances and the site assessment and safe work practices that you implement with your company. So.
Yeah, and it even comes down to the likes of products that you can use now. And I know, like, taking it back to Garrett Rooney's product that we had, he was mentioning on the episode, being able to use such products like the Remy tool tray or the Remy tool arm when you're doing, like a lot of the distribution board work will be done when the floors are in.
Yeah.
And yourself, like we mentioned it before, having, pliers or screwdrivers sitting up on top of your ladder, bouncing off somebody's newly laid floor or newly laid tiles in the hallway is something that you don't want to see.
I know, we've all done it as well, so there's no point in us sitting here and saying we've never done it when we have. I think Garrett's tool arm there is brilliant for that scenario. And look, it's grand. It's always good to have in the van, like, you know what I mean, and obviously ease of work as well. So I think that's a no-brainer to have in the van. And like, look, in terms of the payment plans, I think they're quite important as well. So you're looking to cover yourself as a contractor, you're looking to cover yourself, but also as a client to have those, payment plan in place. It kind of covers both of you and everyone's happy. And then you're not leaving someone, a continuous period of time without payment. And on the same level, then the customer, you're getting your bill cleared as you're going as well. So you're not left with a hefty, payment at the end.
Yeah, it just saves any type of confusion once the project is started. Nobody wants, slight arguments or disagreements between the contractor and the client. Like once the project is begun commencement and even at the later stages of it,
Yeah, and even on your quote, just to reference on the bottom to say any stipulations away from the original quote will be, noted as an alteration throughout the job. So good idea when you're on the job, if there is any variations or, work's done outside of the quotation, you want to get the variation pricing and quote in quite quickly because as a lot of people would know, customers, are just grey areas where they think they might be entitled to one thing and where the contractor hasn't priced for it. So get those variations in and let it be known that there is going to be an extra charge coming, and that will alleviate any of those arguments that kind of generally come towards the end of a job.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot easier nowadays as well for contractors to be able to even get payments in from customers while they're out on jobs. I think now with the portable card readers, and I think even some of the job management systems now might even have certain software built into their apps that you can use, I believe, where you can actually get payments from customers straight onto your phone.
Yeah, you sent me an interesting video there today. So Jordan from Artisan Electrics posted a video earlier on about Tradeify and how you can collect payment through Stripe through their software, which is quite interesting. So there's no more need to be carrying around the card reader in the van, and obviously carrying, if you have 5 vans, you've got 5 card readers. So it's not really, it's not really viable to be doing that on a daily basis. So being able to access the payment terms, and obviously that'll be on Tradeify, the quotation, everything's there in the one place. So to be able to collect payment through Tradeify as well is kind of a game changer, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we might have to look into in a bit more detail as well. The softwares and the other things that are in the industry right now that's making it easier for contractors, not only in the electrical game, but I know in the plumbing and the gas end of it, you've got the gas certificate app that the lads on the Off the Job podcast are promoting as well. So I think definitely something that we can lead into on a future episode. No,
definitely it has to be done because we have to move along with the times. If you don't move along, you're going to get stuck fairly quickly.
Yeah. 100%. And look, I guess that's just about it for this episode's instalment of The Overload, and looking forward to now getting into our guest interview segment with Paddy Kavanagh.
Yeah, delighted to have him on. Lovely to mix our two passions, electrical and football.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The guest interview segment. Now on Insight, the Stripped Back podcast.
Paddy, thanks for joining myself and Keith on the podcast. Myself and Keith, we're both big football fans, and this is definitely one that we've been looking forward to.
Yeah, look, it combines both of the things we love, Stephen. Electrical work and a bit of football. Brilliant.
Yeah, sparking on football, gents. Thanks for having me on. I'm actually a big listener of the pod as well, so it's really enjoyable listening, hearing everybody's stories and that, and there's some deep stories and some fun ones as well thrown into it, and then I suppose the information that comes out as well from the relevant bodies that are involved with it it's a great listen. So yeah, I'm delighted to be involved. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And look, I guess we'll just do what we do with every guest, and we'll just take it back a bit, get to know you a little bit better. And if you'd like to let us know and our listeners know a little bit about yourself growing up and how you got into football.
Yeah, I suppose I grew up out Boulderstown, Blackrock, neck of the woods. My father came up from County Laois and my mother was knocking around Dublin as well, bumped into each other, and young Paddy Kavanagh came along. In terms of getting involved in football, my father was a Gaelic footballer and bits and pieces. He was always involved in soccer and sports all the way through, and I think from an early age I was out in the garden kicking balls from around the place the whole time, and it just stemmed from there. Got involved in a mini World Cup, I suppose, up in St Joseph's Boys in Sallynoggin one summer. They'd put me into that, scored a few goals in that. Joey's came along, said, we have an under-9s team or whatever starting up. Do you want to get involved? And sure, that's where I ended up getting fully fledged into the old football and stuff.
Deadly.
Yeah, I think I remember the days of doing the unofficial World Cups on the estate greens. Remember you used to get, was it the World Balls? You used to pick a team from it, and
Yeah, and Wembo, wasn't it? Wembo League as well.
Yeah.
Heads and volleys, the whole lot.
I think that's what got us into it.
Well, Joey's were always known as a good team when we were growing up, so it was a great place to get a start.
Yeah, a good schoolboy academy out there, out that neck of the woods. To be fair, they've produced some players, players across the Prem, even like serious careers, and some of the boys have come through there. So yeah, good nursery to be involved in. To be fair, and good grounding to get me up and running.
It's mad. It's such a small, localised area within Dublin that has produced such players. Like, it's brilliant. I know at the minute, Joey's would be a fairly large feeder club to UCD. I think that's what they're at there now at the minute as well. So it's great to progress through that club.
Yeah, they're affiliated with a couple of clubs there. I think even after signing a new alliance with Bray Wanderers as well at the time when I was coming through, that they were linked locally there as well. But in terms of catchment area, you're the Dunleary Borough area, and you're competing possibly with Coola from a GAA club point of view, but soccer seemed to be the main winner out that neck of the woods.
Yeah, I know that was like something similar out in Balbriggan at the time. Like myself and yourself, like there would only be, I think it used to be called the Cryptic Club at the time, where you'd go up and you'd be learning instruments, or they'd be trying to put a guitar in your hand or something, and myself and Keeby just looking like, just give us the football and let's go out and play outside.
Out the back of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting very bohemians like there, lads.
But come here, who were your biggest influences growing up, I suppose, in terms of football and in your life?
Influence definitely my father in terms of football, and a great support network there with my mother as well, and younger brothers and an older sister. But in terms of biggest influence, definitely my family in that, and then I suppose later on in my career, I have to give good mention to my wife there. She's supported and put up with a lot of hassle, a lot of my commitments in terms of like 5-6 days a week gone out of the house, and you can't do League of Ireland without having proper support and a network there to keep you ticking over,
Yeah, and to allow you to be committed, I suppose you have to have that support behind you. Yeah,
definitely. It's all sports people tell you, like, you have to be selfish in terms of sacrificing yourself for your career, but you're also sacrificing relationships with other people, and that you can't really commit to things like I've missed weddings, christenings, all that good stuff where nights on the piss just became, no, I can't do that, but we're booked in to go here, I won't be available, I've got training the next day, I've got a match that evening, and that's just, look, short enough career, try to get the most I could out of it, and like I said, you have to be selfish, but that selfishness is a bit easier, I suppose, when you've good support around you to allow you to commit to them things.
Brilliant.
Well, who did a young Paddy Kavanagh support?
Oh, I'm a Man United fan, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, lads, I'm off, right? 2v1 here, it's not great.
Yeah. I guess out of Manchester United terms, who would have been your biggest influence in football, watching them play?
I suppose, like, everyone has to go with Roy Keane. Like, he's just, for me, he epitomised everything he wanted in a footballer. Now, I wouldn't have been a Roy Keane type player as a right or left winger or played in the 10 at times, whereas his drive, the character of doing everything simple, box to box, and determination to win, like, if you instill that in any player, they're going to have a chance of having a decent career. So he was definitely one who would have been role model like. And then if you flip to the other side of it, who wasn't Manchester, like loved Zidane as well. Zidane's just unbelievable.
Unreal, yeah.
It's a definite mix of the boat, isn't it? The skill with the determination from Kane. And
Basically like Steven Gerrard, yeah.
With all his Premier Leagues, yeah.
You're never going to win that one, Keith. And Paddy, what were you like in school? Like obviously we go through school life with a lot of our guests and how they are academically, but you know, obviously people reach a certain point in their school life when they know if I'm going to go to college or not, or if I'm going to take up an apprenticeship. At what point did you know you were going to go down the trade route?
School life wasn't bad. Obviously, a bit of a messer at times, and loved having the crack at times, but knew when to be serious. I actually wanted to leave school after third year, done the junior cert, and I was thinking I want to go do a trade. I think one of my pals had left school and went sparking and that, and I was like, I think that's where I want to go. And I'd done one or two aptitude tests at school. I went to Outlands College in Stillorgan, and they were always very hands-on with, so I suppose, career guidance, bits and pieces that way. And they used to send out there were forms, and you'd fill out each of the forms and you'd get back a score, and it'd give you 3 different job types that you might get involved in. And mine always came back as construction, potentially the guards or the fire brigade. And that was where I suppose, and my pals being involved in the electrical industry at an early age, I was like, maybe that could be for me. But to be fair to me folks, they were like, no, you're going to finish out your leaving cert. You're going to finish school, you're going to do your leaving cert, and then you can make a decision what you want to do there. So when I'd finished up the leaving, I'd actually went to college for a year and I'd done a year of microelectronics and computing. And that was all around building, building computers from way back when, dealing with motherboards, soldering, and all that.
Yeah.
Mini stuff. And I was like, this isn't for me. I want to go and get involved in, I suppose, the construction work, hands-on, be properly working with my hands and out and about and doing bits and pieces. So, I wasn't bad in school, but I think I always had an inkling and wanted to work my hands and get involved in the trade. So, electrical happened to be the cleanest as well. So,
yeah. Well, I suppose, like, in terms of the apprenticeship and starting the apprenticeship, and obviously knowing that you were a tasty enough footballer, how did you balance the two, like going down the apprenticeship route and then knowing that maybe in the background you could have become a professional footballer?
My apprenticeship actually comes off the back of my involvement in football. I'd finished school and I'd ended up going to finish college and all that, carry on, done my year of college, and then I'd signed for Wayside Celtic in the Leinster Senior League. And with that, I was knocking about and I was sort of half applying for apprenticeships here and there, and there was an actual contact in the club who was involved with Mercury. And with that, I told such and such, look, any chance of a job with Mercury? And I was told, yeah, leave your CV in. Left my CV in on a Friday, got a phone call on a Monday, done an interview on a Tuesday. I was sent for a safe pass on the Thursday, told I had a job Friday, and started on site the following Monday.
Jeez.
Started in January 2006, and it was Baltic. Yeah. And down Newbridge in the Whitewater Shopping Centre and a multi-storey car park. And that was my introduction.
And like with the football, where was the links then after that? Like how far in the apprenticeship were you before all that started coming knocking on your door?
So I finished out first season with Wayside and we'd done well. I was only 18 at the time, starting to cut my teeth, I suppose, in senior football. And look, back then it was going to sound like an outlet, but it was a tough environment. Like you get properly clattered and learn how to look after yourself, and good character building, to be fair, playing with proper real men like who weren't afraid to tell you when you were wrong and what you were doing wrong and bits and pieces that way. And then the following year I was fully fledged playing senior football for Wayside, and I got we'd won the league actually, and the league winning game was a playoff against Malahide actually, believe it or not. And it was a Wednesday evening, there was about 2,500 at it, and I'd done really well. Scored a hat-trick and we'd won the game, but there was a host of League of Ireland clubs at the match, and there was also one or two football scouts from across the water at it. So I'd finished up won the match, trophy lift, all this carry on. Next thing, a fella came over to me and grabbed me by the shoulder. Goes, "Are your parents here? I want to have a chat with you." I says, "Yeah, they're over here. What do you want to talk about?" Like, "Well, I'm represented from Birmingham City, and I also represent a couple of clubs around England." That, so I said, "Fair enough." But at that time, I was gung ho. I was into my apprenticeship. I was like, "I've no interest in going to England. Don't want to go. Don't be
Annoying me.
Don't be annoying me." It was literally, I was politely saying, because he was on the phone to me a few times a week type thing, seeing if he could get hold of me. He got my number from somebody, and I was literally like, "I've no interest in going to England. I'm going to finish out my trade.
Yeah.
If somebody wants me, they can come pay for me type thing, come buy me type scenario."
Yeah.
In the meantime, Pete Mann from UCD been in touch, and a couple of other League of Ireland clubs been in touch with me as well, and I spoke to Pete, and Pete said to me, "Look, we understand you're doing an apprenticeship. We train on a Monday, we train on a Wednesday, you'll play your match on a Friday, and you can we do Saturday or Sundays depending on what our schedule's like. It's not going to be too hectic or too demanding of you to be able to continue your trade. We encourage education around here as well. There's lots of lads on scholarships. We want you to build a career outside of football. If you pick up a bad injury, there's no plan B for you. We want to make sure that your plan B is covered," type thing. So they went hand in hand, and to be fair, I played half a year with UCD or whatever, signed in the July window, and with that, I done well. I think it one of UCD's highest ever finishes in the league that year. Scored a couple of goals, and with that, this scout and representative was back onto me again, amongst a couple of others. And to be fair, I'd only signed an amateur contract with UCD. I wasn't tied to anything. I was 2 years into my trade at this time, and I ended up going across to Birmingham. Rang relevant people around Foss at the time, and they said, "Look, this can happen. We're happy enough to put your apprenticeship on hold for you. We'll pause and see how we get on. Can't wish you nothing but the best of luck." Mercury, to be fair, were the exact same at that time. They said, "Look, go ahead, give it a go, see what comes out of it. Your job will be here for you when you get back."
Class.
It's great to have that support, isn't it?
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
And Paddy, what was the transition like moving from Irish grassroots football into playing and training in the UK? And in your opinion, how hard is it for, lads like yourself and other Irish lads going over at that time trying to settle in?
It's a big step, and even at that, I was 20 odd years of age going across, and it's I'm a home bird at heart, and anyway, I love being at home, so it was tough. Leaving family, friends, all that carry on, but at the same time, the opportunity that's out in front of you, you can't not give it a go and live a life of what ifs type thing. So look, buckle down. Once again, my father, mother at the time, good guide and influence there, good words of encouragement, and I suppose support that was there available to me. Lads going across without, all I can say is, when you're in that environment, you're walking on a knife edge. You're either falling off either side or you're going to cut your bollocks. Very rare. The 1% or minus 0.02 or whatever make it to the end of the sword and have that golden career where they earn a good living out of the game and they're fit to retire at 34 years of age. They don't have to go looking at jobs or looking down the other route, going for that plan B. And if you don't have a plan B, it's always tough as well,
Yeah, brilliant. And how long did you spend over there, Paddy?
Done the year over there, and to be fair, Birmingham at the time were flying. I'd signed a 1 year deal. They were flying, and they'd been relegated from the Premier League the year before, and they were in the Championship with their parachute payment, and they had an unbelievable squad. To be fair, they had Nicholas Bentner in on loan from Arsenal, Sebastian Larsson on loan from Arsenal, Fabrice Muamba on loan for Arsenal, who ended up dying on the pitch for a couple of minutes against Tottenham, I think, when he signed for Bolton.
Yeah, just remember that.
That's right, yeah.
There was a doctor in the crowd that day, jumped out and saved him. But at the end of the January transfer window, they'd bought Seb Larsson in for, I think they paid £1 million for him, 1.2 million. So that's the environment you're around, and to have that level of competition and quality where these boys grew up in that environment. I finished out my year. Birmingham ended up getting promoted. I had a meeting with Steve Bruce at the end of the season. The offer was there's a potential there for a 1 year extension, but you're not going to get near the first team squad. I've got 85, 90 million. I need to buy proven Premier League players to keep us in the Premier League next year. And that was where conversation had kind of filtered out towards, look, there's 1 or 2 offers there in League 2 if you want to go League 1, League 2. I think it was Exeter and Rochdale who were saying, look, we want to come down and have a look at me type thing and see where things go. And I said, look, I'm not going down. Probably with stubborn saying, I'm not going on trial. I'm after playing the reserve league for Birmingham for the year there. I'm after winning the reserve league, scored goals. You either pay for me or stump up with a professional contract. I'm not going on trial, put myself at risk. I get injured. Well, then I'm gone anyway. I'm gished, full stop. So in the wind-up, had good conversations with a couple of people around the clubs and this, that and the other. Also had a small point to maybe get home. I knew I had my job to come home to. I knew I'd pick up a League of Ireland club as well. So I was like, I'll hedge my bets here. And if I'm good enough and if things go my way and I have a couple of decent seasons, well, then I'll get a move back across. And anyway, if not, I'll put the head down and really get my apprenticeship, my trade boxed off, play League of Ireland, get to as high a level I can in the league and see where it takes me. So that was how we kind of navigated that patch in my life.
Yeah, and I suppose when you decided to come back, was there any, I suppose, support networks when you came back to kind of, you know, infiltrate you back into, I suppose, work and playing under a club or anything like that?
Fell back into family life handy enough, and to be fair, like, I'll reference my mum and dad a good bit around, I suppose, them early years of my life and my football career and my apprenticeship, like, always there to support me and, like I said, give me them good words of encouragement, good guides, good friends network, really good friend network. Like, I've friends there that have been my pals since I'm 13 years of age type thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're still my friends to this day. So I had all the right people, I suppose, around me, and I'm lucky, blessed in that sense. But coming back in, kind of fell back into the apprenticeship life. Grand, no problem. Like, 1 week, you're walking into the training ground with a little wash bag under your hand. Following week, you're given an order to the shop boy, whatever, chicken fillet roll, lads, let's go. So, yeah.
I guess having that period of time in the UK, do you feel like that helped develop you and shape you, not only as, you know, a footballer, but as a person?
Definitely, yeah. Character building, resilience, all them buzzwords, I suppose, that you throw about the place. But look, you grow up fairly quick when you're thrown out. Not thrown out, but you're out there living by yourself. Like, you get handy around the kitchen. You just learn how to look at it. You grow up fairly quick, and you have to grow up fairly quick. Otherwise, like, it's dog-eat-dog world over there, do you know what I mean? So you have to look after yourself and prepare yourself as best you can, deal with certain challenges, being away from home, doing your own bits and pieces, shopping, washing, all that stuff that makes you grow up. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And it was a brave decision to, you know, kind of come back and refuse to do those trials, as you call it. But how did you find it falling back into the apprenticeship?
To be fair, working on Irish sites is always it's always good crack. You know what I mean? Always good people, they're good environments, I think, to work in. So I came back and I ended up going on to my second year. I was working in the Beacon the Beacon Quarter out in Sandyford there, big apartment blocks, great. Foreman I actually went back to the same foreman, the same crew that I'd left. Just everyone had gotten a bit older, looking after a couple of years type scenario. So I went back into that environment, and they were really good at me, to be fair. And, like, made sure that I got all the support and educational needs from an apprenticeship point of view. It wasn't just, if you go there, or you're on the shop, or you're just going to be like, I don't want to say GO attributes, but they worked really hard to get me back up to speed, to get me prepared to go. I was heading towards phase 4 then at that stage, so get me into that environment of, look, you're back here now, make the most of your electrical career and get the best out of yourself. Like, and like, goes hand in hand, I suppose, with football and my work life, that always give yourself the best chance to get the most you can out of both careers type thing. So that's where I was at.
In terms of football then, you went back playing with Bray then?
Yeah, landed. I actually signed my contract for Bray on the bonnet of the manager's car outside the Beacon apartment. So I came out in the Snickers, full shebang, high vis vest on, and signed the contract for Bray.
Strike while the iron's hot, I'd say. That's what your mum was thinking before you were back on a plane back over.
Yeah, there was one or two, but like I said, I had no interest in going back and forth unless offer and the deal was correct. And to be fair, Bray had put a good deal in front of me once again to be like, they showed their commitment to me, to develop me once again as a footballer, chance to play first team football in the top tier in the country. Do you know what I mean? Like, play at the best level you can in your own country is nothing to be sniffed at either, like, you know.
No, definitely not.
And was it like a weight off your shoulders playing back in Ireland? Were you able to play a bit more freely after having that experience abroad?
Definitely, I suppose being abroad would have sharpened and honed skill sets, touch, technical environment that you're involved in. To come back and play in the league was still, I suppose, in a bit of a transition. It was rough and tumble at times, but there was also good players starting to really develop. I'm not saying that there wasn't bad players in, but like, there was certain players that would make a career out of being box to box and just milling lads out of it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the technical ability that's out there even now today is unbelievable. Great standard. Whereas I was coming through around that 2007, 2008 type era, it was still proper men getting after each other and kicking lumps out of each other. The referees were a bit lenient with cards, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was.
Well, would have been an expectation on you, like from other players in the league, knowing that you had come back from England and now you were playing here? Would there have been a bit of talk going on about, here's your man back from England now?
Here's Paddy.
Yeah,
let's do him.
Let's teach him a lesson.
Oh, definitely. That comes with the territory, and I would have even been of that mindset myself when I went on later in my career. See lads coming back, knowing how tough it was. If you're playing against them, sure you'd want to get stuck into them. Say, here, see what you're all about now. We welcome back. You're playing the League of Ireland. It's not just you're going to come back here and tiptoe about the place. It's it's tough environment, committed football, and it's you'd see some lads would crumble. You see even boys coming in to train with us who were coming back from the UK, and they were kind of hedging their bets because the way the season was, that the off season in the UK is our full flowing season during the summer. So you'd have boys coming back thinking that I'll train with one of the League of Ireland clubs, show them what I'm about, possibly win a contract or keep myself ticking over to get myself back to the UK. Boys come back in, they just sink. That's there probably could be a lack of respect for the league or thinking that they're a hell of a lot better than what they are. But I've seen boys crumble and just go missing. Yeah,
well, I would have played senior football with Glebe North first team, so I would have met Wayside along the way. Yeah. But like you're saying there, we would have had a couple of the Premier League boys. We would have had Stephen McPhail back in off-season training with us, and Gary Deegan and Ado Harper. Ado Harper out in Balbriggan. So, yeah, when them lads are coming to training, like, there does be a perk in your step. You know what I mean?
Lads step up to it, and it gives them a bit of a buzz as well. Like that, for players around the club, see somebody of their calibre come back to get involved in the training sessions. Does give you that little perk, and I'll show you what I'm about type thing. You're not getting an easy one here.
Yeah, exactly.
They won the Intermediate Cup this year, did they?
They did, yeah. Not with me in the team anyway. That's probably where they won it. But yeah, you had a couple of good years with Bray, or seasons with them, and then obviously attracted the eye of the lads further up the table. What was it like to be in around Shamrock Rovers?
Yeah, it was actually before that season started at Bray, into my second year before I signed for Rovers in the July window, I was actually in talks with Derry City, and I was nearly a Derry City player, believe it or not. I'd actually met Stephen Kenny, shook hands on a 3-year deal, and then it kind of came out in the wash that Derry had actually financial troubles that year, and I ended up not going. Signed for Bray. Once again, there was a bit of interest fishing around saying this fella could go back to the UK type thing. Bray tried to get me on a new contract. I sat tight thinking that I could possibly nip off for free type thing here, and I ended up signing for Rovers in the July window. To be fair, Rovers had just opened up the Tallaght Stadium the season before, and they were in they were going to new levels. They were the club to be at. To be fair to Bowes had a couple of good years there, and they'd reached a bit of a financial demise themselves. Rovers were the top club in the country. Come knocking on the door, 2.5-year contract. It was a no-brainer. Still maintaining electrical work as well. It was just a good time around my both careers. You know what I mean? I was able to map it out really well. Worked out well for me.
Deadly.
Yeah, and you won the league. Well, not only once, twice with them, and you got a bit of a taste of European football as well, against the Italian giant Juventus. What kind of an experience was that, and would you consider that one of the proudest moments of your career?
Definitely a highlight. I was only talking about this the other day to somebody. They were asking, like, if you were to pick a couple of top moments, and obviously playing against Juventus was one of them. Like, Tallaght Stadium on the night was rocking, really in really good shape. Chiellini was playing left back for them that night, unbelievable. I think they'd signed Deco from Wolfsburg or somewhere. He's 20 odd million. There was a big boy up front, Amaruso. He scored twice that day as well, but like, they were serious outfit, like just pure strength, technical ability, football prowess was unbelievable. You knew like you were playing against a top team. So it's always nice to go out there and try and pitch yourself against perceivably best players around the world, around Europe essentially, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely a highlight, definitely one to remember.
The best player I ever played against was you, Stephen. Never mind Chiellini.
And even the top of the away leg, obviously Del Piero came on and scored a 30-yard free kick. Ridiculous. I remember Stephen Bradley, manager of Rovers now at the moment, he said to him, "Why do you have to do that, mate? We're doing all right," like, type thing. And he's like, every week in training I do this, don't worry about it.
That's amazing, isn't it?
You can always blame the stuff that came out in the wash about Juventus as well anyway, so.
Yeah.
I suppose any young lad or young girl looking to, cut their teeth in the English leagues, what advice would you have for them, having gone over yourself?
Definitely back themselves, be confident, don't ever shy away from a challenge. If you're there and you have a chance, commit everything you have to it, because don't ever leave yourself the opportunity to look back with a whole lot of what if, see if I could have done this. Now, don't get me wrong, like, you'll always have some kind of a look back, be thinking, I should have done this or I should have done that, but give yourself the best chance to not have them looking back moments where you think, I could have changed this, that or the other. Just commit to your challenges, commit to your commit to your work, basically. Don't shy away from trying to be a good professional. Don't get sucked into nuisance on nonsense off the pitch, essentially. You know what I mean? Be a good professional and really commit to your work.
I'm glad you said that now, so I can play this little clip to my son and say, like, if it's coming from me, it means nothing sometimes, but coming from someone like you, it'll mean a lot to him. So appreciate that one.
It's the same. Look, I even said it I got involved in a bit of coaching over here at the time with our Bohemians under-19s, and we're in a world now where there's, I want to say, Instagram footballers, YouTube footballers, and I used to always tell them, don't be the boys standing outside the gym taking a picture, be the one inside working. That's where you're going to get the rewards. So
I'll tell them that as well.
Look at the greats. Look at Ronaldo. Like, just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Messi, all them boys.
Commitment is just unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great bit of advice, and I think it definitely even translates to, other industries as well. Like when you're looking at apprentices and stuff like that as well. So
definitely
brilliant.
Out there, buy the best tools for your job. Walk the walk. You know what I mean? Come in. If you want to be an electrician, come in and act like an electrician. Come in and have the best tools. Commit to your work. Look up a YouTube video. Ask Sparks. Ask people the right questions that will give you the best chance to be in the best version of yourself in your apprenticeship or your football career.
Yeah,
you only have one life, I suppose, and without getting all sentimental and mad, but commit to your work. If you want to be the best Spark you can be, well then give yourself the best opportunity. Buy the best tools, buy the proper gear. You know what I mean? Get the Rovers and
show a bit of initiative. Yeah, no, that's I'd be harping on about that day in day out with my lads.
I remember my first couple of weeks in my apprenticeship. I was an electrician, and his name's Ger Cuddy, and it was at the time where the apprentices these days, they're handed a toolbox on their start. Ger told me, he goes, look, every week you get paid. Go out and buy yourself 2 tools and you'll get to use them and make sure they're good tools. Talk to the Sparks around the jobs. Ask them where you're at with ask them what they're doing, what tools you need to do that job. Get yourself a 17 spanner, get yourself a snip suppliers, get yourself a pipe grips, get yourself a hacksaw, all that carry on, buy the toolbox.
Yeah.
Commit to your work, basically. That was what and to be fair, it's something that I took with me that I still passed on to even to apprentices these days. Buy yourself new tools, buy yourself the right tools for the right job, all that good stuff. you'll benefit.
You won't see your tools going missing out of your bag then as often.
I know, yeah. I'd be fleeced every week.
And come here, Paddy, at what point in your career were you able to find that sweet spot that allowed you to not only enjoy your football but excel in your electrical trade?
I suppose it was Tramrock Rovers was really hands-on, very professional. Done a year then at Shelburne when I finished that, and it was part-time, but it was an intense kind of part-time environment where you weren't really. I was half foot in the trade, half a foot out of it. Once again, one of my pals' bosses at this stage had taken me on, and he was heavily involved in house wires and bits and pieces that way, emergency lighting tests and all that kind of good stuff. And I used to do a couple of days a week there. The other days I'd be at football training. And then the following year, I ended up signing for Derry in 2013. And that was a full-time environment. So I went back to full-time environment again. Used to come back down the road, do the odd couple of days with my mate's boss. And that was grand. And then I made a decision then after 2013, finished in Derry. I was coming back and I was signing for Bohemians. It was proper part-time football in the evenings. That's when we trained. The culture of the club was to allow you work, to commit to your proper career, your bread and butter as such, and your football be your hobby, and that was that. So them 4.5 years, I suppose, at Bows were when I really got to knuckle down and get under the bonnet of my trade and see where I could take it before I ended up led to me signing my year-on-year contracts once again in the Snickers coming out lunchtime, all that carry on. But I ended up working for Designer Group in 2017, and that's when I suppose that sweet spot of football was really good. Work was really good, and I had that good balance. It was just worked out really well for me.
Yeah, that's deadly. And I suppose were the family happy with that then? Was it were you still doing like mad hours during the day and then training 3 nights a week, or was it?
Oh yeah, well, I was well loved up now at this stage. So I'm living with my missus, and I had I'd be gone out of the house 6 o'clock in the morning type job, work my days, do the whole 7 to 4, 7 to half 4, 7 to 5, get myself to train then for 6 o'clock. Train was always going to be an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. Try keep it in the confines of a match, 90-minute match. You train for that period of time. You get home then maybe 8 o'clock, 8:15 in the evenings type thing. And look, long days. You do that on a Monday, you do that on a Tuesday, you do that on a Thursday. You'd have your date night on a Wednesday, play your match on a Friday, and then depending on your schedule, if you had another game on the Monday, you'd be in recovery on Saturday and do a proper training session again on the Sunday to get yourself right for Monday kick-off. Also while committing to an 40-hour work week on top of things. And
Jesus, heavy commitment there.
Up and down ladders and lugging tools and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's
So you were in the shape of your life, were you?
unbelievable, Nick. 6% body fat thereabouts, yeah.
Jeez.
You wouldn't think it now.
Yeah. Look, I'm the same myself.
Although some people tell me the bit of weight suits me, so it's grand.
And look, Paddy, looking beyond the apprenticeship, progressing in your career, did you always see that as a goal for you to move on beyond just being an electrician, and taking your career on a bit further with maybe getting a bit of a promotion with Designer Group?
Definitely, I am. Always, I think, I don't know whether it probably is, my competitive edge in both football and my work life is always to be the best I can be, get the most out of whatever I'm involved in. So the opportunity came to join the Designer Group, and I was working for a crowd where I was sparking, but I'd done the testing course. I was City and Guilds 2407, all that good stuff. So I was essentially wiring a job or doing the containment, wiring it, running around with the drawings, and then getting to test the full installation as well. The opportunity came to join Designer, and I went in there just straight away as a tester. Nothing else. Going around testing our installations, making sure that we were conformed to all the right standards, all the right regulations. In turn, that led me down the quality and commissioning path, where I ended up going back to college doing engineering services management, done a couple of years of that. And from there, managed to grow into, I suppose, a quality manager with the company, running the 2407, like, I suppose the testing course, done that. I do a bit of training in that, sometimes with the company, as well as running a crew of men, QA, QC engineers now. I've been heavily involved in quality and commission now for the last 4 or 5 years of my career currently, and it's look, it's challenging, but like I said, competitive nature myself, to get the best out of it and be the best I can at whatever role I undertake with the company. So, to be fair to Designer, they have backed me. Once again, I go back to unbelievable support networks there from Designer, like, put me back through education or further education, encouraged it, supported me, allowed me to do it, gave me the time and, look, assignment, study, all that carry on that's required. Gave up football, took up college type scenario, and once again, see how much I can get out of myself, out of my career. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, well, it seems like the football kind of benefits you throughout, but also in terms of, upskilling yourself to be able to become a QC and do the testing, obviously got you probably within that role. So it just shows, I suppose, young people that, upskilling and wanting to upskill, whether it be the testing, doing a bit of solar, do a bit of, fire alarm systems and stuff like that. It will benefit you if you push yourself.
Definitely, 100%. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong if you want to just be an electrician, Like, if you want to go, most electricians will have the ambition, I want to own my own business. Perfect example of it, run a crew of lads doing your own bit, and once again, you want to get the most out of your business, and I think that's within everybody. If there's an opportunity to do something better or better yourself, well then, go for it, take it on.
Yeah, I think I've noticed from a lot of people, even with yourself, Keith, and talking to you, Paddy, that a lot of the people that I've spoke to throughout their careers that have had sports in the background are a lot more goal driven as well. That it's sort of built into them, like, through the years of training and putting in the effort to want to win, that they then can transfer that into themselves and into their careers.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, even in terms of me, I was playing with Glebe North. We used to do, I can kind of relate a slight bit to Paddy. Like, we trained 3 nights a week, and we were, we're on site for 7 in the morning, and you're getting back maybe 10 minutes before training. So, like, that commitment, through those younger years, and like you said, Paddy, not being able to go out drinking on a Friday night with your mates and stuff, really does shape you. And only you saying it now has actually made me think of it, So I wouldn't be mad on the drink either, but I'd be very driven to, succeed at anything that I do. And some of the lads even that work with me be like, geez, you're a bit of OCD or whatever, but it's just a drive to actually get things done and done properly as well,
That drive, resilience and commitment, it comes with I'd be of the similar vein of thought there with sports people in general, that drive and to have the character and the resilience to get stuff done, be disciplined, stay in when you have to stay in, do your work when you have to get your work done, all them good things. I think anyone, I'm not preaching then, like, get yourself, kids or any of that kind of, get them involved in sports, because even the relationships you build out of being involved in sports environments, like contacts, networks, you never know, like, it's always an opportunity. All sports clubs, you know what I mean, they will look after their own essentially. So
yeah, but in terms of the crossover between the sports and the work life, like, yourself, if if someone's not showing up to training or missing a few sessions, they're not going to be in the team. Same as lads in work, like, if they miss a couple of days, a couple of sick days, usually a Monday, they're not they're not going to last too long. So there is a kind of a good tie over between the two.
100% agree with you. And the old saying where don't drink with the boys of a Sunday if you can't work with the men of a Monday type thing always comes to the fore there, like. And it was always known, like, especially around the sites, like, you'd always hear the elder generation of Sparks saying, never miss a Monday. It's a known day to be missing. Don't be one of them people that misses Mondays. So get up.
A lot of people become ill or die on a Sunday night. That's what I found anyway.
The lads with 6 grannies and all that carry
on.
on.
Yeah. Some lads are running out of relatives now at this stage.
But like, thinking about the role of a quality assurance engineer, what does a day in the life of yourself entail?
Oh, I have a couple of lads working underneath me in that, and they day-to-day stuff, your daily auditing sites. We've a high volume of work out there, high volume of sites to attend, making sure we conform to ISO standards from a quality management point of view for the company, from a QMS system point of view, as well as to regulations. We're looking after the client spec, looking after the standard of the client spec, making sure that we're meeting their requirements, even if it goes above and beyond the standard of the regulations of safe electric, so on and so forth. We need to make sure that our installations are compliant as well as to the client's spec. That's the be all and end all. Like, that's like everything. Like, do a good job for your client, you're going to lead yourself down the road of repeat business and all that good stuff. That's so important.
And I presume in that role, your interpersonal skills have to be top of the pops, and I suppose job delegation, would you have to, go through that a lot day to day?
Definitely. Relationships are a huge thing across business in general. Like, you need to build good rapport with people, have them conversations where you can earn the client's trust, make sure that the client is happy with his installation. At the end of the day, he's paying a big sum of money for his building to be right as rain. He has his feature lighting in, and he wants to make sure it's looking the business for him to conduct his work. So we play a role in allowing that, building that relationship, giving them that confidence, and that I suppose the feel good factor of having a building that's the bee's knees.
Yeah.
And just on back to the sports there, Paddy, in regards to, myself and Keith talk a bit about mental health on the podcast as well. And I was just wondering, when you come to the end of a career, how tough is it on a sports professional to try and step away from the game, not just physically, like we mentioned before, but also mentally?
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It's tough. Tough scenario, I suppose, to get into your head that you're losing a routine. And like I suppose a lot of mental health talkers and such will try to tell you that you need to have a routine in your life. You need to have, you get up at 7 a.m, make sure you make your bed type thing. Just the famous army man speech where he's like, at least if your day goes bad, when you're coming back home, your bed is made and you get back into a type scenario. But stepping away from that commitment and routine of football environment, I substituted it with a bit of work and also with another sport in golf. To be fair, like, that's just my natural competitive edge. To be fair to my wife, she was afraid of her life, me going off the rails. So she bought me my first set of golf clubs and I took up that. But from a mental health point of view, there's good support out there. To be fair to the PFAI, who are the players' representative body for the League of Ireland, they've great contacts, to be fair, and I know they've put players in touch with certain people to make sure they're right. And then even within the construction industry, I had my job to go to be fair. So when I gave up football, I always had my job, and that was going to occupy time. And once again, he's had Lee last week talking about the Lighthouse charity and all that carry on. Like, they're great support network there as well. So whilst it was tough, I substituted it with other things, kept myself busy, kept myself into my routine. But I'll refer back to the support network I had with family and friends that was able to stepping away from something that I loved every second of. Like, 15 years of my life was dedicated to trying to be the best footballer I could be. Was always going to be tough to step away from, to be fair. Really good family environment, really good support network there that got me through that whole, you're no longer Paddy Kavanagh footballer now, it's just
Paddy Kavanagh Designer Group.
Paddy Kavanagh Designer Group, yeah.
And avid golf player.
Committed golf player, yeah.
No, fair play. That's a great bit of advice for anybody, I suppose, coming out or in the same boat as yourself. And like, looking back now, would you have done anything differently?
Genuinely, I was asked this question a few weeks ago as well by fella that I know. He was a keen football fan and bits and pieces that way, and I was like, definitely wouldn't do anything differently. I'm really happy with how I carried myself through my football career, how I've carried myself balancing my work career, looking after the bread and butter and maintaining high standards in both of them. And that's something that I'll always be proud of, that I was able to hold myself to the highest standard in both codes, be it my apprenticeship through to work and bits and pieces that way, or through to my football work. Like, it was always a proud moment for me, you know what I mean, that I managed to navigate both really well, I think.
Yeah, have you kept up a good relationship with any of the clubs that you've played for? I know there's a couple of Bows fans here in Mighty that were delighted that we were going to have you on this evening, and one of them was the MD, Les Sheridan, and he was asking me, could I ask you about, I think it was the chip pan goal or the chip shop goal?
My chip pan goal. Oh, big shout out to Les, big Bows man. Yeah. No, I suppose I spent my longest time my league riding career with Bohemians. I was there for 4.5 years, and I scored a goal the opening day. It was Derby day against Rovers. We ended up winning the game 3-1, but I scored the one that put us 2-1 up. Went, I suppose, maybe semi-viral at the time that I'd ran over to the chip fan scoring goals. Funny story was that I'd actually got married the Christmas before the season started. Come back into pre-season in January, and it was a bit heavy. I'd enjoyed the off-season, say. Plenty of cake was eaten, and the strength and conditioning coach at the time was taking the body fats, and to be fair, I was up a good bit, and he'd come back to the management team and said, look, we're 6 weeks out now, I think Paddy's going to struggle to make the first game of the season. So I was like, once again, took on the challenge. Says,
challenge accepted.
I'll be there for the first game of the season, I'll be right and I'll be ready. And sure enough, I scored, and over to the chip fan, other sausage, chips, all that carry on. So yeah, it's here one of the proudest moments. Unbelievable night in a Bows jersey, to be fair, and that's why I have a good strong affiliation with Bows. I go back and do co-coms and League of Ireland TV and all that carry on now with them still. I actually ended up going back coaching Bohemians under-19s in the league, and once again giving a small bit back of myself to appreciate the clubs that have done so much for me. So yeah.
Is that something you'll continue doing? Or do you look down the line of coaching or anything like that?
No, it's the commitment levels that are there for coaches, and the coaches who coach underage football in Ireland, unbelievable volunteers, give up so much of their time and their energy to sacrifice themselves and selflessness to give as much as they can to allow, I suppose, our young people become the best version of themselves on the football pitch as well. It's nearly a thankless task, and I can't do anything but tip my hat to the people who get involved at a grassroots level. It's an unbelievable commitment from them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think, like, talking about coaching, you'd obviously, you get a bit of an insight into the minds of younger people nowadays. And do you think the perspective on success and achievement has changed from when you were coming into the game compared to what the lads are striving to achieve nowadays?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like I referred to a bit earlier, like we're in the era now of Instagram and YouTube footballers, and it's even the young superstars who are playing in the Premier League, like they're all a brand these days. You know what I mean? They want to be a brand. They're offsetting themselves against clothing lines, aftershave ranges, the full shebang. Like, rather than me personally, I'd argue that they should be committed to their craft and shouldn't be nearly going down a Roy Keane route of the distractions. It's a short enough career. Get the best you can out of yourself. Win as much as you can to have that to look back on. You look after your brands and bits and pieces elsewhere, do you know what I mean? But any of them young folk these days, like, just need to commit to their craft. And especially football is like such a short career, and it goes by in the blink of an eye. Like, I look back 15 years, literally just snap of fingers, gone.
Man, it's been brilliant having you on, Paddy. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, and look, Paddy, just before we let you go, we ask each guest to add one song to the Season 3 Spotify playlist. What would your song of choice be?
Oh, this is I know this. Everybody says this is the toughest question of the night, and I was caught between two. I was caught between Freed from Desire, good Bows anthem there, Gala, Les might appreciate it, and then I was thinking something a bit more modern that's currently in the charts, and I was looking at Morgan Wallen and Post Malone. I Had Some Help, so that
was my one.
That was
last season. Yeah.
That was Keith's last season. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you want to stick with that one, or do you want to go with a Bows favourite?
We'll stick to Bows favourite and get the lads pumped during work.
Yeah, brilliant.
100%. Love that one. And look, Paddy, delighted talking to you. I know myself and Keith, we were looking forward to it, like I said at the start, and it hasn't disappointed. Thanks very much for coming on. Yeah,
deadly was one we've earmarked and we were really looking forward to. So brilliant. Thanks, Paddy.
Oh, thank you, man. It's hell of a podcast, really enjoyable, and I suppose the variety and the character of guests that you do have on, it's really great. It's a great listen. Can't help but to be fair, tell most people they're looking for. The word goes around any podcast is to give you boys a shout the whole time. The Insight Strip.
Really appreciate that.
I'm going to play you out now, Paddy, to your song choice. Take it easy. Right, that's just about it for Season 3, Episode 3. Just want to say a massive thank you to the guest that we had on this episode, Paddy Kavanagh, and a big shout out to Mighty Facilities Management for allowing us to record this episode out of their wellness room in their headquarters in Dublin, Ireland. And a big thank you to our sponsors, Robus Lighting, the world's leading LED lighting company. If you liked what you heard, come back next time for more overload chat and guest interviews, and head over to wherever you get your podcast. Give us a like and a follow to be notified when the next episode drops. Take it easy, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Talk next week.